introduce a friend of the family, very close personal friend, Rabbi Chaim Schmelzer, Rosh Yeshiva of Tel, Chicago, to say a few words.
Mazel Tov, Moishe, very nice drosha, Bar Mitzvah pilpul that you said, Bar Mitzvah, parents, Mordechai, Mrs. Fiedler, Mazel Tov to you, Mazel Tov to the Zaydas, the Rabbis, the Fiedlers, and the Feinsteins. Couldn't attend yesterday in Shul, and I'm very pleased to be here today to have the opportunity to join and to partake in this simcha of Moshe and the Fiedlers. I think that it's difficult to follow Moshe's speech. He gave us a few lessons which we must digest on our own. But since the parents asked me to say something, I'll just say briefly a bracha and a lesson that I learned yesterday in Parshas Vayeshev, the portion read. We all know the story. Part of the story was related here by Moshe. One of the stories related to us in the parsha yesterday was Yosef being a servant to one of the Srisei Paro, one of the princes, one of the leaders of Egypt, Potiphar. And there was a very distasteful story there with Potiphar's wife trying to convince Yosef to sin. And most of you will remember Yosef answered, "I cannot do this. How can you expect me to betray your husband? Your husband did so much for me. Your husband was, he entrusted the home, the household, all his possessions to me. How can I go and do something so immoral and betray him?" But he concluded with two words. After he said the logic and the proper thing to do or not to do, he concluded by saying, "V'chotosi lelekim." How can I do this by sinning to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to the Almighty? And the question is asked, why did he have to conclude with V'chotosi lelekim? It's a simple question. Eishes Potiphera asked him to do something immoral, something which would betray her husband. Logic says he shouldn't do it. It's not proper. It's not nice. It's a terrible thing to do. Why must he say v'chotosi lelekim? And my Rebbe said this very often, and it's an emes. It's a truism. It's a truth. And I think that it's a message to the Bar Mitzvah in particular, but it's a message to myself and to all of us. All the logic and all the proper reasons are not enough. Because when a person wants to do something, when a person has a Yetzer Hara to do something, then all the logic and all the culture and all the protocol does not help. If a person does not have Yirah Shamayim, if he has no fear of God, there is no security, there's no assurance that he will not trespass. V'chotosi lelekim, that is the final stop, the final deterrent of chet, of sin, is v'chotosi lelekim. You can be learning Moshe, you can learn in the yeshiva, you can be good scholastically, you can be doing mitzvahs, but v'chotosi lelekim, yirah shamayim, this is the main objective that I'm sure your parents want to instill in you. Where there is Yirah Shamayim, there is a certain guarantee that the commitment that you make now as a Bar Mitzvah will remain with you. There are hundreds and thousands of examples. I always say the example of the German people. We know that the German people were the most cultured people in the world. Art, music, education. Deutschland über alles was always said in most everything. Yet, when the time came, we all know the atrocities and the gruesome brutalities that the German people can commit. Where there is no yiras alekim b'mokim hazeh, when there is no yiras alekim, there's no fear of God, then anything can happen. And when there is yiras alekim, then there's hope that be'ezras Hashem, you can grow up to be a ben Torah, a great ben Torah. And our bracha is that your parents should have much nachas from you. Yesterday I had a simcha myself, a personal simcha, and I said over a story from an Adam Godler, Gedalia Shor, Zechariah Levracha. He was a yeshiva in Ter Vedas, in one of the big yeshivas in New York. And he met once a student of his many years ago. And he worked very hard, this Talmud, this student. And he didn't have time to learn. He didn't have time to make a kviyus. So he told him, listen, it's important to learn Torah. I know you're working hard, you're making a living, but it's not sufficient. You have to learn. So he says, Rebbe, I know what you're saying, but I want my children to learn. So I'm working hard so that my children should grow up to learn, to be scholars, to be Talmidei Chachamim. Many years later, he met a son of this gentleman. And this son was also working very hard. And he had no time to learn either. And he asked him, Yankel, what's this? I'm working hard. He says, but what about Torah Matei Aleho? You have to learn something. You have to. He says, Rebbe, I'm working hard in order that my children should be able to learn, so that they should grow up great scholars. A few years later, one of his sons, this second generation, young boy, told his father, why are you working so hard? He says, because I want you to grow up to be a Talmid Chacham. He says, Daddy, I want to be a big millionaire. I don't want to be a Talmid Chacham. I want to be a rich man. What I want to say to Mordechai, and I'm speaking again to myself and to all of us, it's important that Moishe should grow up to be a ben Torah, a Yerei Shamayim, but we ourselves have to go with it. When our children see us learning, when our children see us being the way we should, then they grow up to be so. If our children see us making money, it's also a good thing. They also want to make money. It's very good. But in order for our children to be complete, shleimim, they have to see everything. They have to see a home, which I'm sure your home, Mordechai, is built on those principles of Torah and your Shemayim. And Be'ezras Hashem, your Zaydis and Babis will have much nachas, the entire Mishpacha and all of us, and Klal Yisrael, Mazel Tov for Moshe.
Thank you, Rabbi Schmelzer. The next speaker is one whom I really never had an occasion to introduce, and I got to make sure I don't bungle it, but he's a close friend of a number of the people here, and he's a very choshev Rav in the city, the principal of Erie Crown Hebrew Day School.
I would like at this moment to extend a personal hearty mazel tov. Let me go to the Zaydis on both Stadim, Mr. Fiedler and his wonderful Eshes Chayil, Mrs. Fiedler, Mr. Feinstein, his lovely wife, Mrs. Feinstein, and Mr. and Mrs. Fiedler, Moshe's parents, to Mar Bar Mitzvah Lacher, Moshe. Moshe, for one moment, if I might digress from my comments, remarks, and I typed it out. So I hope it will not take too long. I'm amazed, I'm stunned. I'm used to that when a great dean of a yeshiva, or a great rabbi of a particular college has a wedding, you have an outpouring of great leaders for that specific function. If you look around this room, Moshe, approximately 10, 20 tables. You have great giants of yeshivas on my right, on my left, very distinguished Rabbanim on my right and on my left, be it Rabbanim per se that have a pulpit or other positions, and Moishe, last but not least, your own Rabbeim of every crown, starting with Rabbi Weiss sitting at the table, Rabbi Levinson at my table, and your own wonderful Rebbe presently, Rabbi Mogulis. What a schus, what a merit it is, and I must compliment Mr. and Mrs. Spiegler for this lesson. Thank you for teaching me what it means to invite individuals such as these. Moshe, yesterday when you read in the Torah, the second pasuk was Eila Todos Yaakov Yosef. These are the generations of Yaakov. It was Yosef. And automatically the common question becomes, where are the rest of the brothers? And I would like to just put aside this kasha, as many answer it, but rather zero in on what a very tremendous, great Talmud Chacham Tzaddik interpreted in a very free fashion. Eila told us Yaakov. The word Yaakov does not mean Yaakov, our forefather, Moshe. Rather, it refers to every single Jew and Jewess. The word toldos, which means the children of, does not actually refer to children, but to the accomplishments of the Jew and Jewess. The good deeds of a person are his children. The good deeds of every person are the results of his efforts in his pursuit of godliness. The accomplishments of a person are a result of his mitzvahs in the world. The word Yosef literally means to strive for more. These are the accomplishments of Yosef. Back, going to the pasuk, Eila told us Yaakov, these are the accomplishments of Yaakov, of each and every Jew. What are these accomplishments from day to day? Of being an observant individual in all things of life, man should be content. He should be satisfied with a position in his life. There is one thing that he should not be happy with, and that is in limud haTorah, in learning and in mitzvos. For these things he should strive and always strive for more. We find the same thought expressed in the lighting of the menorah of the candelabra of Hanukkah, lighting of the candles. Beis Hillel says the following, Moshe. The first night it is one candle. The second night it is a second candle, as tonight we lit 2. The third night 3, and so on to 8. The beginning is a start. There's a breakthrough in the darkness with a one candle. The second gives more light. The third gives more. When we reach the 8, there's a beautiful picture. And that picture shines and glows when the family is around that menorah. This too is the foundation of our belief in becoming a Jew in its fullness and totality. This is the only way we can create the full-fledged Talmud Chacham, which in Mitzvah Hashem, Moshe, you can and will reach. Today, Moshe, you learned a little. Tomorrow, a little more. The next day, yet still more. all these bits of Torah and Yiddishkeit add up to a beautiful and glorious picture. The sum total is a Bar Mitzvah boy, Moishe, as you are of today. And then a man who becomes a living, walking Torah. Moishe, you and I know what Daddy and Mommy have strived and have tried for years, have given to you for one simple reason: to become greater in the Olam, in the world of Torah. Truly, a hearty yashikeach to you, from Mr. and Mrs. Fiedler. Very seldom, and I say it publicly, have I been, let me word it the following fashion, in the following way. I've been connected with the school some 24 and a half years. During that course, I must have met parents, a number of parents. But from day one that they came to the school, brought their children to the school, they always wanted to know, how are they doing? Moishe, that is greatness. Mitzvah Hashem, as you are a pride and a nachas to both Zaydis and to both Bobbies, Baruch Hashem, and to the Mishpacha, and to the very Chashva Rabbanim, distinguished rabbis that are here gathered, with the friends of the family and your own Talmidim of the school, along with the Rabbeim of Eri Crown. May you grow, may Chayil o Chayil, and may you continuously light and light and light until it just blossoms into that glowing light. Mazel tov to you all. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a cake cutting ceremony which Moishe will preside over.
I'm just gonna get a picture of Moishe's face. Just let me get a picture.
How do you store it? Try to find the angle he wants to cut. And he's lowering. It's gone. It goes in the Eat it. Mom. Show me the cake. Are you trying to... I wouldn't should be proud. Yeah. Hi, Tati. Hi, Mom. Hi, everybody. Hello. Look at big
Hey, That's it. I can't ask the photographer.
No? No. Why are you so cold then? Okay. Hello, Moishe. You're having a beautiful bar mitzvah. Mazel tov to you. Good luck in all your endeavors. I'm having a wonderful time.
I want your arms in your side. I want you to prop yourself properly. Good. That's it. Now you're becoming a professional photographer. We can send you to Hollywood to produce for us. What does that stand for? My golden microphone?
How are you, Rabbi?
Just it.
Anything you want.
Oh. I'm very excited about my bar mitzvah. Well, finally the end. So happy. Bye. Well, I'm Moshe's friend. I like to get in the picture too. I like to say mazel tov, lots of nachas and all that good stuff. Bye.